All right, so we have Mr. Goodwin and Kyle with us today. This is our first episode, first podcast, dry run. Who knows what's going to happen, but we're going to figure out. It's going to be a good time. And we are here today to celebrate Mr. Goodwin and Kyle in our welding program. And what we do, we talk to learn hopefully more about the program, the instructors and teachers and the students. So we want to know what you found value with learning and just growing up and maturing as a student into a future adult, and how your instructor has helped kind of guide and shape that way, and ultimately talk about welding and your passions and interests. So I will start with you, Kyle. How did you find the tech center?
As soon as I got into high school, I started hearing about people and different paths you can take between mechanic and stuff, and that's originally what I wanted to start off as, being a mechanic. And then I heard about the welding program, just figured out that's what I need to go into. That's what I wanted to do.
Very cool. What was probably the best part so far in the welding program for you?
Having that mentor, Goodwin, here to just keep you on the right path, and stay straight with everything.
Does he hold you accountable?
Yeah, very much so, on everything.
So you learned about the tech center from your friends. You wanted to go into auto mechanics, but then you landed in welding. So What do you want to do after graduating?
So my plans are to attend State Tech and just go to a 2-year school after this and kind of figure out what I'm wanting to do with life. I don't know. Travel welding's kind of been on the mind a little bit, or just settling down in a place, but just kind of thinking it through a little bit still.
Excellent. What would be like your ultimate passion? Is it welding? Do you feel like you have found this is where you want to be and you want to learn more and grow more about welding?
Yeah, I think farther on throughout life, I would also like find ways that can make me money without having to constantly work, but for the time being, I think welding is the most steady source of money,
Excellent. And then thinking about LTCC and your experience here, what's like the best thing about being in the tech center?
Probably Goodwin, having that person there watching over you, just helping you out, having access to everything, when you try to do any projects like this outside of school or anything, just funding's a big thing of it, having that equipment there and people to help you out a lot.
Excellent. And you have what we call integrated math and English as well. Yeah. So you don't do just welding, do you, when you come down here? What's been your experience with Mrs. Ash and Mrs. Nail?
They're great. It's a lot better than I have English classes and stuff like that in past years up in the actual part of the high school, and they focus more on staying to the strict procedures of what you're supposed to do. Miss Nail and Miss Ash kind of help to focus more along the lines of what you're going to use in a real life thing, the day-to-day stuff on basic math skills and stuff like that.
Nice. What would you tell Mr. Goodwin? He's sitting right here. We say thank you. What would that sound like? What would that look like?
Yeah, just have to thank him for all the help throughout everything and keep me on the right path. I know there's a lot of times we kind of get off topic in class. There's a lot of joking around, but he's helped me a lot to learn between when the right time to joke around and be serious is.
There's always a right time for everything, right? Yeah. I love it. All right, Mr. Goodwin, how can we celebrate you and welding, the students, and all the great work you do?
How can we celebrate that?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I get for me daily celebrations with my students whenever they accomplish whatever their goal that they're setting out to do. I mean, it's we're right in the middle of doing our certifications through AWS right now, and some of the students are coming up a little bit short, but they're making gains every time they try it. They're doing a bend test is what it is, and then I've got some students that they're passing those, and we have celebrations every day with that, and we're in the middle of capstone projects, and it's a big deal right now. This time of year is super.
A lot going on.
So we got all kinds of stuff going on. We got welding competitions, Skills USA competitions coming up. I mean, it's super busy this time of year. So second semester is no time, especially for my seniors, it is no time to slack off whatsoever.
Excellent. And we know month of February is CTE month, so whoever's listening in February, it's a good time to celebrate all CTE programs.
Yep.
So, true or false, you were a former student here?
True.
Yep. What's it like to be teaching?
It's a lot different than being a student. Yeah. So I was a sending school student whenever I come up here. So I didn't go to Lebanon. I went to Stoutland High School, and it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot different, obviously. But whenever I was a junior in high school, I told my instructor at the time. I think it was second semester of my junior year. I said, I'm gonna have your job one of these days. Like and it's for me, my shop and my classroom and everything that I have right now is my exact same classroom I was here in 2000, because I graduated in 2002. So in 2000, I had the same classroom, the same shop. It is just a little bit bigger now, my shop is. But yeah, I told my teacher then, I said, one of these days, and then that's not the way my path went right off, because I was out and worked out in the field for several years, and then it all just kind of come back to me. So, but yeah, it's been very interesting for sure.
And our students keep it real for us too, right?
Every day. Oh yeah,
that's what.
Yeah, every day's a brand new day. It's very, very seldom do we ever do the same thing 2 days in a row.
Exactly.
So
3 words. So I asked students and our teachers, what are 3 words you would use to describe the tech center? Your 3 words were opportunity, skilled, and learning. Can you tell me a little more about why you chose those 3 words?
So, I mean, in my mind, those 3 words go together. We learn a skill, which gives us opportunity. And so when you come to the tech center, you learn something that will eventually, put a roof over your head, put food in your mouth, in your belly, take care of a family, hopefully one of these days, if that's what you choose to do. And one thing I tell my students all the time is you come down to me for 2 years, you go through the welding program. If you want to make a career out of welding, that's awesome. I love that. That's amazing. If you choose a different path, that's okay as well, right? That's okay. But you will always have that skill to fall back on if, for whatever reason, whatever you choose doesn't work out. It's kind of like riding a bike. If you ride a bike and you don't ride a bike for years and years and years and years, and then you find a bike, you pick one up at the garage sale or something, I'm going to get back on that. You still remember how to do it. You might be a little rusty. You might fall down, maybe, But, I mean, it's one of those things that it's a lifetime. It's a skill you learn. It's a lifetime. If you don't weld for 10 years and then you pick up a welder somewhere, at a garage sale, I used to do this. I want to try it again. With a little bit of practice, you'll be right back where you was. So it's a skill that you can take with you for the rest of your life. So
I love it. We talked about what brings you joy, what makes you happy, and just seeing students succeed, right?
That's my ultimate.
That's the aim, right? It's successful. Let's talk about CTSOs real quick. So for those that are listening, and I just rattled off some jargon, CTSO, what is that, and how do we participate in it?
It's our student organization for our CTE, which ours is the one that we use is Skills USA for the welding program, and there's some other programs down here that I'm sure we'll talk about later on in the future podcast. But they're also Skills USA. Skills USA is a student-led leadership organization, and we do leadership opportunities for the students throughout the year. We do different. Obviously, we do competitions, and that's what the students are really geared. They really want to do those competitions, and that gives them the opportunity to represent their class, their school, and ultimately, we've had students go to nationals. So they ultimately get to not just represent their school or their program, their school, but also the state.
Oh, wow.
Missouri. So yeah, we a few years ago, I was fortunate enough a few years ago to be able to take one of my welding students to nationals in Louisville, Kentucky.
Awesome.
So it's a student-led organization for the kids, and they get it opens up doors for them. If you put that you've been a member and been part of Skills USA and an active member, I mean that says something when you can put that on your resume. That's telling your potential employers, that you not only just did welding, we'll say you did this and you went and done community service. I mean, we do community service. We do labor auctions. We do different things throughout the year to get these kids involved and get student or the community involved. And so yeah, it's a great organization for CTE.
We had a question: if you could celebrate your students in the program with the world, kind of what I asked Kyle earlier, What would you say? What would you show? Kind of poked on this question earlier.
So with the welding program, one of the things that we do have some social media pages that we do share things out. I try to share. I'm not personally a super social person. Like I would just assume I enjoy the face-to-face conversation and talking to stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I've had to kind of come out of my comfort zone and share things out for my students, and that's the only reason, you know, we do it. But we do have social media, and so I try to share. I try to do it daily, the things and the happenings and the things that's going on in my class, especially celebrations. You know, earlier on this year, all of my juniors, they have to get their OSHA 10 certification. So one of the things that we do is once those cards come in, you know, we print off their certification and they get their card that they get to put in their purse or their wallet. And we take pictures of them and just put it out there, you know, and say, hey, you know, great job. And we try to always, whatever their accomplishments are, we try to put it out for everybody to see.
Love it. Where can we find you? Where can we find more about welding online?
So for the Facebook page, it is LTCC _ welding program. And then on Instagram, it is LTCC welding technology or welding program as well. Yep. So.
Excellent. We'll post those in our links too so we can find them.
Yep.
All right, so let's transition now to the fun part of the show. This is basically a lightning round, a 10-question get-to-know student, get-to-know teacher. First question, which you'll both get the same questions. Start with Kyle. Favorite school food?
Probably Chinese.
Chinese.
Same for me.
Same?
Chinese.
Yeah, all right.
Always look forward to Thursdays for lunch.
And Bob does a phenomenal job,
yes,
by the way, for those listening. Kyle, what is the thing that you would not leave the house with of a morning when you come to school?
My phone. My phone goes everywhere with me. It's I think it's kind of connected to everyone nowadays, but kind of just rely on it most of the time, you know. My phone.
Scary when it's not with you, like almost a feeling, right?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Goodwin, what's that one thing you don't want to leave with?
Well, definitely through the week would be my... my work keys. So I haven't forgot them very often, but every great once in a while, I have to do the walk of shame down to our Mr. Moore usually and say, hey, Mr. Moore, I left my keys at the house. Would you care to let me in my classroom? So try not to do that very often, but every great once in a while. Usually once a school year.
I've been there, done that. All right. Kyle, question number 3. Who is the biggest inspiration in your life?
Inspiration in my life, I'd probably have to go Dad. From just watching him all throughout my life change a lot. You know, there's been a lot of rock bottoms and then a lot of really good ups, you know, and just watching that throughout has really helped me a lot to change who I am.
Excellent. Mr. Goodwin?
Probably be the same thing for me. My dad, he obviously has been there my whole life, but you know, he's almost to that age where he's getting ready to retire, and I get to see the fruits of his labor thus far this in his life, and now he gets to enjoy that and hopefully go fishing a lot. That's his. Yeah, so it'd definitely be my dad as well.
Excellent. What is the best thing about school?
I'd have to go with my welding class for sure. It's almost the rest of my day I kind of dread, and it's almost like I got to go to that part of the school, you know. It's just you sit through classes, it's really slow and stuff. We get out in that shop and we kind of just start getting work done. Time kind of flies by, you know. Just go right through the day.
Absolutely.
It really does too, doesn't it? Yeah. It seems like, oh, hey, let's go to the shop, and then all of a sudden
you're out of there.
All right, guys, time to clean up.
Yeah, because you're what, about 3 hours?
About 3 hours,
and it can go by like that, right? Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's exactly right.
And learning.
Yeah. And learning, of course. Yeah, throw that in there. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Goodwin, what's your answer on that?
Undoubtedly, it's my students.
Yeah.
It's rest of it. You know, there's things to go on and things, you know, with working and having a job, you know, but what gets me here every day, keeps me coming back every day is my students and the amazing relationships we build. But then again, it's, you know, when they get it, when they have them aha moments every so often, it brightens my day. And so, yeah, my students for sure.
Kyle, if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or visit the future?
I definitely think probably back in time just to, we kind of all want to get to that older age, in that older age until we're all there, and then time just flies by, I kind of think we need to hold on to it while we can, and any more time that I could get it on this earth, I'd like to have. So I think the future's coming to us all anyways, you'll see what's coming. So.
That could be the most profound answer I have heard on anything. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Goodwin?
Yeah, I think I would go back as well. Particular would be my grandpa. He was a World War II vet, and my grandpa was a storyteller.
Yeah,
he loved telling stories. Now he didn't get into some of the gorier details of war, but he was a storyteller. And one thing that myself and my family and my dad, we've all talked about is we wish we had recorded my grandfather. Kind of like we're doing today,
right?
Recorded my grandfather as he was telling stories. Some of them were wrote down, but it just nobody could tell a story like my grandpa. And so I would that's what I would do. I would go back when I was old enough to know, and just say, "Hey, Grandpa, tell me a story today," and just record it.
Yeah,
that's what I would do for sure.
Super. All right, Kyle, your favorite game growing up as a child?
We talking like video games or like
any game, board games, video games, whatever, you name it.
I was never really into video games too much. I kind of have a personality. I don't have the patience to just sit there. I just get bored of it. But anytime I could get outside, and do something like that. I like to, not really games as much, but like work on stuff. Tinker, take stuff apart, stuff like that as much.
Awesome.
More stuff like that. But
Mr. Goodwin?
Monopoly.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could sit there, and I'm telling you, my friends and family hated it because I got pretty good at it. They used to call me the Donald.
The game that goes on and on too. There's no quick way to play it.
No, and I would just take everybody's money and their properties, and So yeah, Monopoly was my thing. So.
All right, Kyle, you can only eat one meal, the same thing, every day, for the rest of your life. What's it going to be?
Well, I pretty much eat the same meal every day already right now.
He does.
But,
he does.
Beef and potatoes. That's what I eat.
Beef and
day.
potatoes.
Yep.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm on a kick of avoiding processed foods and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so just try to keep it to the basics.
Keep it clean.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Goodwin, one meal. What's it going to be?
A nice, well done steak.
Well done.
Well done.
I didn't know that about you.
It's got to be well done. I'm in the minority on this.
Yes.
I think there's, out of all of my students, I think there's one, maybe two that agrees with me. Everybody else does not. So yes, a nice, well done steak.
Excellent.
I can do that. I think every day. I'm a big meat eater as well. So yeah.
All right, Kyle. In your opinion, kind of touched on this. What is the most important personality trait or strength someone would need to work in, call it the welding industry, since we're talking about welding today, to be successful in their job? So what's the one thing out of all the things Mr. Goodwin's teaching you and what you know about welding, what's like the most important personality trait, characteristic that you believe you have to be successful?
I would say probably either staying on task or, like he was saying, that honesty. That comes a big role into things, If you can't, trust is a big thing. If you can't trust in someone, you don't really want to work with them or be around those people,
Mm-hmm.
So just honesty and then hard work. Hard work goes a long way.
And Mr. Goodwin and I and the rest of our team here, we've been working on this thing called responsibility. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out what that looks like, how that works, how to measure it. What would you say the role of being responsible is in the welding profession?
I think you have to be responsible in the welding field. If you're not responsible, you can have a lot of injuries, and stuff like that. It's a very dangerous place and a lot of high heat and stuff like that. If you're goofing off, a lot of injuries to be.
Somebody's getting hurt.
Yep.
What's that one thing, most important thing, Mr. Goodwin?
For me, is willingness to learn. Because I've been doing this for 22 years now. Not teaching, but I've been in the welding field for 22 years. And I still learn new things. And don't ever think for a second that when you get out on that job site or you're in that manufacturing facility or whatever, that that you know everything, because I'll promise you don't. There's going to be somebody there that can teach you something if you will allow them to teach you.
Right.
If you'll just take a little humble pie or whatever it is, and just say, hey, how did you do that? And just listen. That'll get you a lot farther in life than just feeling like you know everything and somebody just basically just shutting you off. Say,
yes.
Well, I'm gonna let you fail then. Rather than take you on. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing something. You can always learn something.
Totally agree. Our leadership team's learning. Kyle, this is for your future notes, and this is for future Kyle. The concept of being humble, having the humility to learn, but then being hungry to learn and to perform and to work. And the last piece of that is to be people smart, emotional intelligence. You get those three now at your age, the sky's the limit. You're gonna fly, ultimately. Okay, last question. This is your turn now. What's one question you wished I asked you, and how would you have answered it?
Question.
This one's the hard one. I saved the best for the last.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the spot here.
That's why I saved it. Yep, one question you wished I would have asked you, and then how would you have answered it?
Maybe what's the best thing I'm doing this year or learning this year, maybe?
Yes.
And I'd say my capstone project, probably. I'm getting ready to build a smoker, and I think it's going to be a lot of work, but a lot of fun, too. It's a lot going into it, so I don't know. There's a lot of different things. We have I don't know. I'd leave it at that, probably just a capstone project, yeah.
I love that. And will that smoker go to well done? Is the question.
I'll try to keep it nice.
Oh, come on now.
Nice, medium rare.
Hey, no, it's got to build that heat. You got to build that heat. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Goodwin, what's that one question you wish I would have asked, and how are you going to answer it?
Boy, I was trying to think what Kyle was answering, and then I got involved in his answer. Let's see. Maybe similar. Something like what are you guys doing right now? What's going on right now in the weld shop? And my seniors are all doing. We're doing our certifications, and my students have the opportunity as a junior and as a senior to get certified each year. They can get a stick or SMAW certification as a junior, and then as a senior they can get their GMAW or a MIG certification as a senior. And so the students are going through that process, as well as getting material lists and process papers and presentations and things like that going with their capstone project. And that's on top of welding competitions, skills, things going on. So we've got a lot going on. But that's the big thing right now is we're getting these kids ready to graduate.
Yes.
And ultimately, whether they're going to post-secondary education or with the workforce. Right now is the time.
Right.
We've got to dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's, because it's coming down to May, and it's time that we make sure that they're ready to go.
And time flies. Well, with that, gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the very first podcast.
Yes,
we'll see what happens when we bring this back and go through post. We'll make some faces at the camera and see how great we looked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what happens on. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
So, Kyle, thanks again. Mr. Goodwin, appreciate you and everything you do for our students in our building, in our community. I look forward to future talks, and hopefully we'll get Kyle back here down the road, and we'll bring you back in and see how you're doing.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thank you.